Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about 3 eating habits that keep me lean, muscular, and happy. So I know I've already talked about this one before, but my answer still isn't going to change. Eating habit number 1 is consuming minimally processed whole foods. For those of you who are new to this, eating minimally processed foods just means eating potatoes instead of French fries. Another way to think about it is eating single ingredient foods like tomatoes, carrots, and broccoli. None of these foods have an ingredients list because they themselves are the ingredients that you find in lots of different recipes. So why do I do this? Well, minimally processed foods tend to be healthier for every imaginable reason. They contain fewer preservatives, they're more satiating, they tend to have fewer calories, they usually take longer to chew, which is good for your facial muscles. They tend to retain more of their quote-unquote good stuff, which they may lose when they're heavily processed, and many more reasons that I can't possibly list in a single rant. But in summary, they're really good for you. Eating habit number 2 is prioritizing lean protein, such as poultry, so chicken and turkey, seafood, and vegan sources like tofu. The reason is because as people get older, sarcopenia is a major concern. It refers to a loss of muscle mass. And there's plenty of evidence that supports the fact that retaining muscle mass is essential for longevity. Whether it's because it makes you less prone to injury, keeps your metabolism up, or its host of other benefits, maintaining muscle is crucial as you age. And of course, protein is an absolute must if you want to do that. More specifically, you want to aim for at least 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. But keep in mind, I said I prioritize lean protein. That also means avoiding red meat and most dairy products. A greasy Big Mac and a milkshake from McDonald's are fantastic examples of what I avoid. But why? Well, there have been multiple studies demonstrating that high intakes of red and processed meats are associated with an increased risk of things like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and premature death. Now the key phrase is high intakes, so you probably can get away with eating such meat in moderation, but I just prefer to avoid it altogether. As for dairy, the biggest culprit of most dairy products are saturated fats, which can clog your arteries and lead to heart attacks. Full-fat dairy products like whole milk are what I avoid. I actually can't remember the last time I had a glass of milk, but I do have 2 exceptions to dairy products: plain Greek yogurt and good cheese. The reason I eat these, especially Greek yogurt, is because both of them are fermented. This means they contain probiotics which improve your gut microbiome. Your gut microbiome contains bacteria that help you derive energy from food sources that you otherwise wouldn't be able to use. Our bodies have a mutually beneficial relationship with these gut bacteria. They help us get energy from food sources that we can't digest on our own, and in exchange we give them a place to live. But if the thought of cutting out most dairy products and red meat has you worried about your calcium intake, vitamin D, or protein, don't. Foods like chicken and turkey contain plenty of protein. A pound of chicken is actually 100 grams of protein. As for vitamin D, your best source of that is going to be sunlight before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. in most places. As for calcium, leafy green vegetables like kale actually contain more calcium than milk. As a side note, I eat a lot of kale. Kale's good. Eating habit number 3 is reduced meal frequency. You can call it intermittent fasting, but I'm not too concerned about my fasting versus feeding window. I focus more on the number of meals that I eat in a day. More specifically, I usually just eat lunch and dinner. No snacks, no coffee, no liquid calories, just water and 2 big meals. The reason I do this is because I like eating until I'm satisfied. I don't like feeling hungry after I've eaten a meal. So by eating fewer meals, I can eat more each time and still get the right amount of calories. And of course, this does mean that I have a longer fasting window than most people, which has its own benefits that I'm not going to talk about in this video. I'll be making several videos in the future about my diet, nutrition principles, fasting, and whatnot, because there's so much misinformation about it all online. It's also one of my favorite things to geek out on, in case you couldn't already tell. Lastly, I know this isn't exactly on topic with this video, but if you do decide to try this out, please make sure you're resistance training during your feeding window. I work out right before I eat my dinner, so that means I've eaten lunch and gotten food into my system, and then I eat again immediately after I exercise. You don't want to be depriving your body of the nutrients it needs to repair the damage done to your muscles after you've resistance trained. You'll lose muscle. So I hope that was valuable. If it was, I'd really appreciate you joining our weekly newsletter where we send out the written versions of these posts before the videos are published. As always, take care of your health and it will take care of you.